What's up, team? Professor Matt Blaisdell in week 11, talking to you once again from Gracie Baja San Clemente about the virtue of earning in Jiu Jitsu. Been watching the littles train for quite some time, and I noticed something really cool in a class this last week, and it dovetails perfectly with some stuff that's in the news this week. But what I've noticed is that, as even little champions are rolling towards the edge of the mat and they need to get reset, as either a coach or they themselves kind of reset themselves in a safer place, you'll see them be given a certain position, and a majority of them respond with, no, I didn't quite earn that yet. I hadn't quite passed the guard, or my arm was underneath, and it's like, let me work from that spot, because you'll be in a worse spot if I'm in side control, and I didn't quite get there yet. And it dawned on me how unique and awesome that is, and how potentially it's unique to Jiu-Jitsu, because if you juxtapose what you see with the mentality for the little champions, and of course it exists with adults as well, with what we did see in the news this week. This concept of earning things went horribly awry for a group of parents and college administrators who accepted bribes to get kids into schools who hadn't deserved or earned anything. And I couldn't help but think about how stark the contrast is between that reality and what so often plays out on the mats. I suspect that if I go to the juniors class in an hour and ask them, it's like, okay guys, who right now, I'm handing out black belts, who would like a black belt? I'll just give you one. Who would want one? I'd probably have a couple that would raise their hand and say, yeah, I'll take a black belt, that sounds awesome. But I think the majority of them, based on what they've already learned by being on the mats, would be, no, that's silly. I haven't earned it yet. I think just last week we were talking about why Jiu-Jitsu waits until the age of 19 to award a black belt, and you'd probably get that from a couple of them as well. I'm working hard, and yeah, of course I would love it, but there's a huge difference between me and some adults who are leaders. There's a big difference between me and Master Carlos. There's a big difference between me and Flavio and Felipe. Gosh, there's a big difference between me and even the purple belts I see roll. They're doing things that I'm not quite doing yet. They are things that I'm just not there yet. And I really think this tees up a powerful example from Jiu-Jitsu, which is the sense of delayed gratification that comes from knowing that you've really earned something. It's really incredible when we look at how easy and instantaneous so many things are in this world today, and how Jiu-Jitsu is just so different than that. Even with the tiny champions, they know it takes 8 classes to get a piece of tape on their belt, and they're so genuinely proud of that. And putting that next to what still largely exists in so many ways of getting a trophy for coming in last place, or like we saw in the news this week, more or less the equivalent of being given a trophy for not even having played the sport. That's just crazy. And I'm just so proud and humbled to be a part of an art that is facilitating the exact opposite. It's facilitating this idea of, no, you're going to get smashed for a really long time. You're going to get a view of yourself that is showing your weaknesses to you and to everybody else, and not just your physical weakness and not just your lack of technique, but actually displaying your overall lack of resolve in kind of a public and difficult way. And you're going to be forced with a decision to have to overcome that. And by the time you get a promotion, it's not that you're proud of a silly little piece of tape. It's that you're proud of the growth that came on the heels of a bunch of difficult stuff, that you've actually earned it. And I think that's the enormous opportunity this week, is to understand that in our lives we're going to be graced with these opportunities to have arrived at a certain place. If we train this art long enough, we're going to eventually arrive at a place where a professor who we care about a lot, who has mentored us, who has nurtured us, is going to tie a black piece of cloth around our waist. And if we have dedicated ourselves the way that we're supposed to, that will feel the way we deserve for it to feel. And the same exact thing applies for a college degree. That can just be a moment in your life that you feel like you sort of deserved, or if you've done the work, it can feel very much like it's supposed to deserve. And you think of anything that can happen in your life, and whether it's a black belt or a college degree or a job title, or if we're lucky enough, a 75th wedding anniversary, let's make sure that as those things in our life happen, we have done the work to just know genuinely it's gonna feel the right way when we finally get there. That's what I have for us this week, you guys. Sorry about being late this week. Busy week at work. Look forward to rolling with you guys the rest of this week, and I'll get back with you guys again on Monday. Os.